Hi, this is the V-King from Dudek, a single-skin wing designed for paragliding as well as paramotoring. It comes from a concept that Dudek said they were working on as far back as 1999. Then in 2014, they used the same design technologies to make a remote control glider. And then, last year, they released the Run and Fly, based on this same concept. And like the Run and Fly, the V-King has a tube along the leading edge here. This is closed at the back, so it's a self-inflating tube. As well as the tube, there are also these spars that run across the cord. All these together give the wing more solidity. The wing uses these V-supports, which reduces the amount of line you need to support the wing across the span. The wing itself is made out of Porsche 27, the lightest of the Porsche cloths at the moment, with a bit of 32 hard in some of the supporting places. There are plastic rods in the leading edge. These are reasonably big, but packed down fairly small. And the aspect ratio is quite mild at 4.8, so it gives a quite compact feel to the wing. The lines are all unsheathed and quite thin up here, although Dudek say they're working on a school version that will have sheave lines and be made out of slightly thicker material, so it's more hard wearing. The risers are quite a simple, lightweight construction. They might seem quite flimsy to paramotor pilots, but they'll be more familiar to paraglider pilots. They use very lightweight webbing. They do have a speed system, although it's quite a short travel. The brakes are held on by magnetic keepers, and they're interesting in that they run to the tips as well as the main part of the glider, so you can vary how it brakes. I did find this was a bit more awkward on the ground, as there was a bit more line around the brakes to get tangled, so you have to make sure you're clear on that. The other problem is, in the air, the brakes seem to be able to go back a bit further when you're paramotoring, so you have to be careful they don't hit the net or go through the net. So it's good to make sure they stay on the keepers. You put them on the keepers when you're not using them. Launching this wing is super easy. For no-wing launches, you don't need to hold the aid. You just leave the risers over your elbows, and then you run forward and up it comes. And it needs very little correction when it's overhead. Just a little dab on the brakes, and that should stop it. And it's the same with some wind. You just lean back, and up it comes. Super simple. Flying in ridge lift, I did find the wing transmits quite a lot of information about the air, but it keeps above your head nicely. There's not too much movement, and it's auto-correcting. In the manual, Dudek say it wasn't really designed for thermaling, but I found with the 20 that we've had on test, I was able to make use of the morning thermals, and it was pretty efficient. And it turned nicely in the thermals. You keep it fairly flat. By moving the brakes inboard and outboard, you can vary the way it turns. So it turns more on the tips or more with the rest of the brake fan. And this allows you to control the way the wing works and make it more efficient in turns. When you want, the wing can be quite dynamic in its turns. It turns nicely, but like most single wings, as soon as you let go, it comes back to level flight. Spiral dives are easy, nice and dynamic, but come out easily. Landings are easy. I did quite a few early morning landings with very little wind and even a slightly tailwind, or wind just coming down the landing field. And giving the wing a bit of speed on final approach, so going fully hands up and then flaring, you got a good flare and it was easy to land. No running, just a couple of steps and you're there. On the paramotor, it's the same. It's super easy on the ground, which makes life really easy. And it's reasonably slow at trim speed. So this makes launching and landing very easy with a big motor on your back. I think it's a good wing for training to paramotor on because everything's happening that little bit slower. It feels pretty efficient and you don't have to use lots of power to get off the ground or to climb. Again, turns are easy and it's easy to balance the power with the energy of the turn. I think the wing maybe doesn't retain as much energy as a big two-surface wing, but that has a benefit in that when you're doing turns, trying to keep your turns flat, low to the ground, it doesn't balloon so much. so it's easier to control there, and you can learn to hone those skills before you go on to a wing that has more energy. It's a super easy wing to ground skin with. The controls are easy, it's not too reactive, but it keeps you safe. And I was very quickly foot dragging with this wing, having not flown for quite a while on a paramotor. I measured the trim speed at around 33 kilometers an hour on the 20, using a Fly Products Racer and a Monster 185. Going cross-country on the wing, it's a bit limited going into wind because of that trim speed being quite low. But I had a really nice cross-country flight going downwind, and it didn't seem to require too many revs to keep at level flight. It feels a nice comfortable wing when you're flying cross-country, although it does transmit more of the bumps maybe than a bigger double surface wing. Landings are very easy. If you remember to come in fast, keep those hands high, and then you've got a good flare. And once you land, the wing likes to stay above your head easily, so you can walk to where you want. I actually landed on my cross-country flight, and it was a bit muddy, so I walked about 100 meters to put the glider down on some clean ground. And it was super easy with this wing, being a single skinner, very easy to walk around with the wing above your head. The Dudek V-King is a great all-round wing. Okay, it's not the lightest I can fly wing, but it's easy to fly and has good enough performance. And of course it's got EMB certification. And with the small packing size, it makes a good travel glider for occasional use. It's great if you want to do a bit of paramotoring as well, especially if you've got a lightweight rig or are just starting out. Okay, it's not a cross-country mile muncher, but you can have some good local flights on it. I enjoyed a lovely flight yesterday on it. And you can build your skills for flying close to the ground as well. Everything happens a bit slower, so it's a bit easier. I hope you've liked this review, or this quick look at the V-King. If you do, give us a like below, and you think about subscribing to our channel, and then you know every time we release a video. Cheers, and see you next time.